Okay. Hi. Today we are very happy to have one of my son's good friends, mom, Bonnie Kiver, and she is specialized in public relations. So she's going to. This is a very specific profession that can help the business people to to improve in so many ways. So Bonnie is going to talk to us today about how to elevate the business relationship. Hi, Bonnie. We'll have you take over to talk to us about this area.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today, Doreen. It's wonderful to at least be able to talk virtually,
Yes,
although it's been a while since we've been able to have lunch together,
that
which
is
is
true.
really and truly kind of an illustration of how things have changed.
Yes.
When we think about March, many
Uh-huh.
of us made significant changes in the way we live our lives and the way we do business.
Mm-hmm.
And psychologists say it takes 66 days to change a behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And we're around 9 months in. We're about 275 days of changing behaviors
Yep.
and behaviors that are shifting every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what we have to do as business owners, and
Yeah.
I'm a business owner, you're a business owner, what
Oh,
we
I'm
have to
sorry.
do.
Bonnie, can you introduce yourself a little bit and
Okay,
also your business a little bit so people will understand your background a little bit better?
sure, sure.
Yep.
So I'm the president of Reputation Lighthouse, and we're a branding and reputation marketing firm. We
Mm-hmm.
help organizations create, elevate, and protect their brands.
Mm-hmm.
And we work globally. We mostly work with companies that are in transition
Mm-hmm.
through mergers and acquisitions, companies that are trying to go through growth acceleration, companies that are coming to the US or
Mm-hmm.
expanding globally.
Mm-hmm.
How do you meet your stakeholders? How do you move your organization forward in times of transition, especially? And
Mm-hmm.
we know today that everybody is in transition. Everybody is in a point of transformation.
That's true.
And so, as business owners, it takes 66 days
Mm-hmm.
um, to change a habit.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are about 275 days, 9 months of being, in, out, are we going to eat food differently? Are we going to restaurants? Are we going to buy our food at the grocery stores differently? I think we're all getting used to wearing masks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we also sent our employees home, right?
Mm-hmm.
We started working remotely, and then some of us have brought our employees back, some
Mm-hmm.
have not. We have challenges of, is it work from home or is it work from anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
So Hawaii has just offered a plane ticket for
Yes.
you to come live there
Uh-huh.
and work from Hawaii in
Mm-hmm.
exchange for volunteering in their community.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many things that have changed, and for business owners, the thing that's most important for us to understand is that all of our stakeholders have changed. Our
Mm-hmm.
employees have changed, our buyers have changed, they've changed the way they want to buy.
Mm-hmm.
The people, our community has changed. Their expectations of how we run our business.
Mm-hmm.
People are more interested in how you run your business and how you make decisions. And you
Mm-hmm.
may have been a beauty shop that did things a certain way always, and now people are uh, wanting to get into your business and determine, how engaged are you in the community, and they're making decisions on buying based on your community engagement, based on the way you present yourself. And there's a lot of things that go into that.
Mm-hmm.
How you treat your workers, how you've innovated through COVID. Have you really changed the way that you're communicating with your all of your stakeholders, and
Mm-hmm.
are you taking care of your community?
Mm-hmm.
So as business owners, it's a really challenging time, and the most important thing is to understand that we do have to change, that the world has changed. If
Mm-hmm.
you have not transformed your business in some way, shape, or form, you're probably not going to stay in business,
That's true.
because we're never going back
Mm-hmm.
to where we were in March. We're just never going back there. We're going to do things very differently. So it's important that you bring your stakeholders along with you. And that has to do with communicating, with telling how you're doing good in the community, how you've done things to protect them, you know, why we're requiring everybody to wear masks. All of the things that we have to do in a way, you know, even let's say barbershops and beauty shops, they've changed the way that they protect you when you come in to get your hair cut. You know, and people are making choices of where they go based on that. So for instance, if you don't make me wear a mask to go get my hair cut, I may not want to go get my hair cut there. If you're not going to take my temperature, I may not want to go there. If you're not going to call me from my car and tell me to come in exactly when it's my time to come in, you know, there all these safety things that have been put in place. You show homes, you know, I'm sure, you know, you had open houses, and in the past you had open houses and you met people where they were. Now, you know, I'm sure a lot of what you've done has been to shift to virtual, even at a higher level than you were doing before. That's because you're meeting your consumers, your buyers, where they need to be and where they feel comfortable. It's no longer our decision as business owners to say, here's what you need to do to feel comfortable. We need to understand our stakeholders, and we need to go to them and to give them what they need, so that we can actually move their you know, make them feel comfortable and safe in this environment. At the same time, we're innovating. So I recently was on a panel with where I was talking with Torchy's Taco and Camp Gladiator. And they've talked about they talked about their transition as businesses. And they said it accelerated their innovative timeline by 18 months. And they've been extremely successful, but they had that in the pipeline. They were already planning to make those moves. And when they started to make those moves, they just had to move and be agile and move a lot faster. And it takes a lot of creativity. It also takes a lot of communication to say, come on board. We're going to change. This is how we're going to change. This is how we're protecting you. This is how we're involved in the community. And that's where I think a lot of companies are going to they're going to have a hard time coming back. One, they haven't changed. Two, they haven't looked at innovation. And most importantly, they haven't communicated all of this to their stakeholders. And that's what we're really seeing. The challenge is to be able to really communicate, you know, and communicate what you have changed and how you're making things safe, so that people will feel comfortable in coming back to your company.
Yep. Okay. So if we are talking about, you know, making all the changes and be creative about, you know, a different way to present or to stay in the relationship or to elevate the business, you know, moving forward, what do you think? What are the very creative ways, or what are better suggestions to meet, you know, the new changes or new eras of move into more virtual or safer environments?
Well, you have to understand that everybody's kind of tired of this. They're tired of the screens. And so, you know, at first we all went to getting on screens and let me show you this video and that. And after a while we decided we really kind of got fatigued. So understanding what people are willing to do and having enough incentive for them to do it. So we are looking, all of us as human beings, we're looking for interaction, and we're looking for to be able to experience something the same way we would experience it if we put our hands on it. You know, so I'm seeing things like galas, and nonprofit events where, you know, usually you would go and you would buy a table. They're now sending the food or the wine or whatever to your house. And then you're watching the event online. You know, we're having happy hours, but instead of just sitting and talking to each other, we're going into chat rooms, and they're very much, you know, we're really coordinating them at a much higher level. We're planning them at a much higher level so that the experience. So what we're trying to do is wherever your customer experience was before, how do you take all the tools and create that same customer experience so that I still feel special, so that I still have all the information I need, so that I still have this personal interaction. And in some ways it takes, you know, it's very different. You know, I don't know if you were, you know, it depends on your age, if you were ever a pen pal with someone. Where you would handwrite a letter, right?
Yes, I was at that age.
Right. You know, I had a pen pal from Korea, and it was one of the most wonderful things, you know, opened my eyes to a you know, from a little North Carolina girl to a completely different country. And it was amazing. But one organization that I know of has started a global pen pal program. And they're writing letters, handwriting letters. And these are people who are just totally fatigued, tired of being on screens, and they're writing long, beautiful letters to each other. Just to say, you know, we're not doing it on Facebook. So that's kind of an innovative thing, but it's really kind of going backwards in time, right? So I would say look to the past as well as look to the future. And what are the things that we can do to make things very creative and different? We have more time to sit with the mail. We want to walk away from our screens. So maybe direct mail is going to increase, but it'll be different. It has to still be innovative and different, so that I still feel that experience that I had with you when I'm personally there.
That is very interesting. When everybody is talking about getting into virtual, you bring up a point is like, how do we go back to you know, to the old time, bring something we can touch and we can really physically connect it in some different ways. That is a very interesting concept to think about it.
Right. When you think about emails, so I get about 500 emails a day as a business owner. And so every morning I come in and I go through my email, and even if I take a day off, how long it takes me to catch up with email. So there's very specific things that I will open, and some things that I just, you know, I never even open. I'm just click, you know, because I just don't have the time. And that is even worse now, because I'm spending all my days in front of a computer. Instead, I would be traveling. I would be going to Denver, to our Denver office, or I would be traveling to see clients, or even just having client meetings and luncheons. And instead, I'm spending my day in front of a computer. So when I do something personal, I want to do something else. So even like drive-bys, you know, like in your industry, can I drive by a house and look at it? Are there flyers for me to look at? Are there pictures for me to look at? You know, can I, excuse me, can I, you know, use a QR code and be in front of the house at the same time I'm watching the video on my phone and go, oh, I see that room is actually there. And oh, that yard is, oh, I see it. So there's some things that we can do that are interactive that still give us that space to do things differently. So I just say that don't think that we can just move 100% virtual, because we're tired. We're tired of binging. We
Yes.
want to walk outside. We want to sit in our backyards. We want to meet people.
Mm-hmm.
So how can you do that
Mm-hmm.
in a safe environment and be thinking about that innovatively? And the other
Mm-hmm.
thing is, I would say, look at other industries,
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're in maybe the luxury industry. How are they selling
Mm-hmm.
cars right now?
Mm-hmm.
How has that changed?
Mm-hmm.
How are we how are we going to get our food? The QR codes, the
Mm-hmm.
menus aren't there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that are happening in other industries, not just your own, that you could
Mm-hmm.
pick up and you say, that'd be a great idea. I think I can
Mm-hmm.
apply that to the way I run my business.
That's interesting. Yeah, they're not really think about, to be creative, to look at some other industries, what are they doing, and pick up some pick up some different ideas from them. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, thinking outside the box
Right.
to reach to different industry. Like actually today, like we got a gift came in to our office that is Austin 101 whiskey. Okay, so we just happened like we have the same name. So Austin 101 Realty and Austin 101 Whiskey. Yeah, so just like did actually talk to the owner the other day. So just like it's interesting, like how do business reach to a different professional field or different industry? Like how can we cooperate together? Yep. Uh-huh.
Right.
Yep.
So,
Uh-huh.
so can you buy a bottle of whiskey for everybody that buys a new home? I
I
mean,
know.
or I mean, there's just some creative,
Yes.
interesting ways of things
Uh-huh.
you do,
Yes.
and we're all in this together as business
Uh-huh.
owners, and we're looking
Yeah.
for ways to collaborate
Uh-huh.
and create a different experience. So the more we can talk to each other and come up with those
Yeah.
ideas and be creative, the better
Uh-huh.
we'll be able to serve our customers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Uh-huh. So you do definitely encourage people, step out from their own industry and to, go out to connect with more different kind of ideas or different kind of experiences or field.
Absolutely. That's where that
Uh-huh.
creativity comes. We're all sharing ideas anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure how many brand new ideas there are out there because I see things
Yeah.
coming back from the past or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Uh-huh.
the important thing is to put your own spin on it and
Uh-huh.
align it to your brand, align
Mm-hmm.
it to your customer experience, and say,
Mm-hmm.
I can pick pieces of that and it
Mm-hmm.
fits with what we do and how we
Mm-hmm.
offer our experience.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think it's fun to implement different kind of elements from different kind of fields into it as well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how
Absolutely.
about like
Absolutely.
people relationship in the working field or like employee experiences?
Employees are really is a challenging time right now because
Mm-hmm.
we send our employees home
Mm-hmm.
in many cases. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to determine whether they come back. How do we keep the environment safe?
Mm-hmm.
75% of people who went home do not want to come back to work in an office. I mean, they're working, but
Yeah.
they don't want to come back to work in an office. Across the
Uh-huh.
world, that's the number. 75% don't want to come
That's
back
quite
full
a high
time.
number. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Very high number. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand that if you're going to bring them back, that there has to be some motivation and some interest around that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
are we doing the things? Are we building the culture? Are we
Mm-hmm.
collaborative? Because we're so disconnected and we don't want to be on screens all the time. I mean, think about
Mm-hmm.
strategic planning, and people are doing
Mm-hmm.
it. They're doing their strategic planning for next year
Mm-hmm.
and for the future. But and we have now computer whiteboards that we can write on and that kind
Yeah.
of thing. But it's still
Mm-hmm.
not the same to be
Mm-hmm.
able to be in the room at a conference table and to write on whiteboards on the wall. There's
Yeah.
still some things that are missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then this collaboration, if I work from anywhere and I decide to go to work in Hawaii and everybody
Mm-hmm.
else on my team is in Austin, Texas, then am I going to get up 6 hours early, or am I going to be behind on everything? So at some point, there's some jobs that can be lone wolves, and there's some jobs that really have to be collaborative and work together. We can look at other industries that have been remote for years. You know, IBM for a very long time was remote, and then they brought all their people back. I think Dell has had many people who have been remote for years. So we can look at their best practices and say, how did you create the Dell culture when people were remote? And how, because we have to do that right now. We have to work to build those cultures. It's really important in how we do that. And that's the thing that I think, you know, our corporate social responsibility, our culture, our innovation, those are the things that are being hurt because we sent people home and they're just checking the boxes to get the work done every day. And we don't have that mind space, or we're not necessarily fueling these other things, the water cooler conversations. How was your weekend? And the other thing is, we don't want to be on these calls. We don't spend time to get to know how everybody's doing today. We encourage everybody to do a well check before you even start the call. You know, I lead a global association meeting, and every time our board is together, I say one word that fits your mood today. And it can be stressed, frustrated, happy, ready for the weekend, you know, whatever. But then, you know, well, they came into this meeting with this predetermined mindset, and how do we change that, or how do we understand that where they're coming from is they were already stressed, and if we put more stress on them, you know, it's not going to work. So we really need to have more time to well check with each other and see how everybody is before we just get into business.
You know, so our office right now is just like, oh, our staff still coming in, so we can have face-to-face, you know, check. And sometimes, you know, when my assistant, when I look at her face, or when she look at me, she knows that it probably does not have enough sleep here and there. But when you guys are doing, you know, the FaceTime or virtual meetings with the well check, how are you guys going to be able to handle it, like well check with bigger crowd?
Well, it's hard because, you know, now on Zoom I can work on my appearance. So I can soften my appearance so you don't see the dark circles under my eyes. I can go off camera if I'm mad at you and want to be screaming at you, I can put mute
or
and
the
go
body
off
language.
You missed a lot of the body language, right? You know, so whereas you can see that a lot more when you're sitting around a conference table, that you know, I'm sitting back going, I think so, and we're able to hide that a lot more on Zoom, and what I'm finding is the chats are just absolutely blowing up. This, you know, I can't believe Doreen said that, or or you know, that's an awful idea. Those kinds of things, but they would never happen on a conference table, right? So you don't know what all's going on behind the scenes. If you have Slack, I mean, Slack's just blowing up behind the scenes. Like, who's this person? Why are they telling me this? That kind of thing. So you have to look at all these outside things. So I just find that it's easier to just say this is a safe space. And you've got to make sure it's a safe space. This is a safe space, and we all need to understand kind of what we're coming to the table with, and what our challenges are today. You don't know if somebody's just been helping their kindergartner do homework, and you know, or whatever that might be, or they're dealing with their parent in assisted living, or they have a friend who has COVID. I mean, you just don't know. And it's really important just to have that safe space at the beginning to say, here's where we are.
Yep. That's a very good suggestion, you know, for well check. Yeah, because it's not easy to have that awareness. You just like get into them, and then just like business agenda, and just like keep checking it off, and then time up, and then just just run to the next meeting. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, to care about the communities, to have the well check. Yeah, just be aware of everybody's. They are just as you say, like for kindergarten, just like help the kids finish their homework, or maybe there are some friends have some situations here and there. So that's a good reminder. Yeah. Okay, I think we are running out of time. Give us like 1 or 2 more minutes, just like summarize something that for us to have some more positive or better creativities for business relationships here and there. Okay.
So I think going into I'm excited about 2021 because I believe that coming out of crisis, you can rise like a phoenix. So we have had a year to evaluate our gaps, to see where we've been doing things the way we always did them, and we really need to change. And this has made us change. And so going forward, really looking at how have your customers changed? How have their buying habits changed? How are you going to meet them where they are? How are you going to communicate their safety and the things that you're doing to be a better community citizen, a better, to provide a better brand product, and then look at innovation and look at creativity. And you don't have to be, it doesn't have to be your ideas. You can look around the world and how people are doing things. I mean, read articles. Friends of mine were at dinner last night in Melbourne, Australia, because they have 0 cases, and they sent me a picture all dressed up at a restaurant having wine together. But they've been in lockdown through their winter, they've been in lockdown, and now they're coming out into what is the summer season, and have no cases. So what can we learn from them about how do we get back to life, and how do we change? So read articles from around the world to how people are dealing with, how different businesses are dealing with things. There's so many ideas out there to help you move your business forward. But most importantly, I mean, this is my business. Most importantly, communicate, communicate, communicate.
Yep. Okay. Yes. Instead of staying in our own zone, yes, communicate. Thank you so much, Bunny, for your time. And we will spend some time to edit the videos, and I will get information. So if people need some help with the public relations, they will get back to you, or to have some questions for you. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Bunny.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.